Uh-oh. Let's address the elephant in the room. I know I'm recording early. I completely jacked this video idea from Karsten Rundquist. Shout out to him for that. Alright, I'm stealing it. I might even steal the thumbnail too. Figure if I make this video, you actually get to know my taste better, because there's a lot of albums that I like that I wasn't able to review on this channel because I already know them. If you're new to the channel, feel free to like and subscribe if you want to. And if you want to catch my future reviews and reactions, nice. Good for you. If the buzz cut has not scared you off the video yet, thank you. I appreciate you for being here. This channel is going into a new direction. Not really. We're doing this in Topster format, so let's get into it. I was born on November 13th, 1982. All right, it's true. I took the anti-aging serum, and now we're here today. There's two records I'm familiar with from this year. It's Thriller, Pornography by The Cure. I love Pornography, all right? The album is also good too. It's some of the darkest gothic rock I've ever heard. I honestly believe that it stands toe-to-toe with Disintegration. And honestly, I would listen to that record over Disintegration in most cases. However, I love Thriller. The record is almost perfect besides that Paul McCartney song. Alright, I can't hate on it. I think Michael did his thing. Human Nature is my favorite track on there. I would like to talk about it more in full, but we got 40 more records to go through. Next is 1983, guys. There's so many records from this year that I want to listen to. Please recommend me albums like Daniel Johnston. I want to listen to that record. I still haven't listened to Violent Femmes. Incredibly sorry about that. Speaking in Tongues, Talking Heads. I love Talking Heads, but for this year, alright, I gotta go Brian Eno's Apollo. I've been listening to this record probably every day for the past week, so I'm fresh on it. The record has some of my favorite ambient moments of all time. I think Brian Eno does such a good job on here. I can really see a majority of these tracks being used in like some space documentary. Heavily recommend this record. If there's one song that I gotta put you on that you have to listen to, it's Always Returning. It's one of my favorite ambient songs of all time. Guitars on tracks like Silver Morning and Weightless. Really cannot recommend this album enough if you like the topics of space and just imagining the world and the universe outside of us. Next is 1984, Fuck My Life. I am in between 4 records on here. Metallica's Ride the Lightning, which I just heard. Perfect thrash metal record to me. Alright, great introduction into that side of metal. The Smiths' self-titled record, Steve Roach. And I think that I would pick that one if I didn't just go with an ambient album. However, I'm gonna go with my favorite record from this year, Cocteau Twins' Treasure. I do prefer Heaven or Las Vegas, but this record is still fucking incredible. This album does have more gothic rock moments than Heaven does, so if you like that sort of side, alright, I think maybe you like this one more than their most treasured piece. Pandora is one of their best songs for sure, though. Maybe a top 10 dream pop song of all time. 1985, a year that I'm kind of unfamiliar with. What are the top records? Meat is Murder, Hounds of Love, Rain Dogs, Tom Waits. Probably my 3 picks. I want to say Tom Waits, I really do, but I think Hounds of Love just has no skips. Rain Dogs kind of does, even though I'd put the highs on that record over the highs on Hounds of Love. I gotta pick Hounds of Love here. Absolutely mind-blowing concept. It does not get talked about enough. This record is just off the wall beautiful. In the conversation for top 50 album ever, Hello Earth has to be my favorite song by her. Running Up the Hill, of course. We love that song. Next is 1986. Guys, I believe I've only heard 2 albums from this fucking year. Queen is Dead and Green by Hiroshi Yoshimura. Obviously, The Queen is Dead, better album, I would say. Is it my favorite though? No, which is not the reason I'm making this video. Alright, so I'm picking Hiroshi Yoshimura at that spot. If you disagree, suck my dick. Recommend me something better from this year. Because I don't know why, for some reason on my channel, I'm just so not tapped into the 80s. I've heard way more records from the 70s and the 90s more than I've heard from this decade. I don't know what that reason is. There's got to be some sort of reason. But yeah, if you haven't heard Green, I would highly recommend it. Alright, incredibly meditative and peaceful ambient record. Next, 1987, we got Prince, Sign of the Times, and Dinosaur Jr. Those are my 2 options here. I think I'm gonna go Prince. There are times when this is a pretty daunting, double record. Prince is just such an intense artist that for me, it's hard to listen to him for an hour and 20 minutes straight. I mean, he just comes at you with so much. If someone told me that this was better than Purple Rain, I wouldn't necessarily disagree with that. If you're the type that's into his more soulful stuff, then I can see you liking this one more. Adore as the outro might be one of his best, if we're keeping it real. Next is 1988, guys. Love Daydream Nation, love Pixies, Surfer Rosa. Two great records, but I think for me, Talk Talk, Spirit of Eden clears. The fact that this record is considered post-rock, to me, it's a little misleading. I think the peaceful jazz moments on this record is something that you would never really hear from, that genre. In my opinion, this record can honestly trigger a spiritual awakening. This record is so rich, I wouldn't even have a favorite track, personally. You kind of got to hear it for yourself, but if I had to pick one, I would have to say the intro, or maybe I Believe in You. And we're about to close out the 80s with 1989. All right, we got some bangers. We have Disintegration, of course, Stone Roses, self-titled. Fucking love that record. It pains me that I can't pick that one because I gotta give it to my girl, Julie Cruz. Twin Peaks did magnify the experience of that record. Blue Velvet completely changed the experience of listening to songs like Mysteries of Love. Really a dream pop ambient record that I would consider a 10 out of 10. I'm keeping it real. I would call this a 10 out of 10. And I can see myself on my deathbed. All right, if you walk up to me in the hospital and you say, David, what's your favorite song of all time? All right, hopefully it's a while from now, but I can tell you for certain that The World Spins is on that fucking list. And I'm not even being dramatic. All right, fuck. Really two strong picks here that shadow the rest. Depeche Mode, Heaven to Las Vegas. I hate to do double artists. I hate to pick that, but unfortunately, it'll probably happen again. So I think the general concept about that record is that it's genuinely perfect. For probably the most ethereal record of all time, you gotta say that, it has the most explosive intro ever. I've mentioned in the past how frustrating Elizabeth's vocals were because I could not understand them, but honestly, I've arrived at the mindset where I wouldn't want to have it any other way. Next, 1991. I really want to go Loveless here, but I'm not going to. And the reason why, I feel like Loveless to me is like that 1X, every time you go back, it's just gonna fuck you up even more. All right, that's what Loveless does to me. Cigarette, it feels so good in the moment, but then your ears are ringing after and you're just in pain. It feels so good in the moment, but it also increases your chances of getting a disease, of getting tinnitus. I'm gonna go back to back with Talk Talk, Laughing Stock. I don't give a fuck. All the compliments I had towards Spirit of Eden, I have towards this one as well. I think I actually prefer Laughing Stock.
I actually have it on CD. I have it on CD too.
1992. So many legendary options here. All right. Aphex Twin, Selected Ambient Works, Rage Against the Machine, Dirt, Alice in Chains. All right. I don't give a fuck about any. Give me the greatest record of all time, Love Deluxe, and drop a whole video essay. All right, which I might even make one day. In case that happens, I'm not gonna dive straight into this record. All right, and I also have like 30 something more picks that I gotta get to. My favorite tracks, probably the intro, No Ordinary Love, or Cherish the Day. Cherish the Day. You know any other songs that have a guitar that sounds like Cherish the Day? Let me know. All right, I'll pay you for that information. Did you hear that? There has been a trade alert. Adam Silver has just contacted me that we are trading my 1995 pick for another 1993 pick. I know what you're thinking. That's against the rules. Slow Dive. It was always Slow Dive. I feel like I've butchered this record as to how much I've praised it. I have a relationship with this record. I almost listen to it every day. All right, I think on average I listen to a song from this record at least every day. Another record that I can make a whole video essay on. All right, one of the greatest shoegaze albums of all time. I'm not gonna talk about it for too long. Let's get into my second 1993 pick, which is Björk with Debut. This record keeps getting better and better to me. It is my favorite Björk record, if we're keeping it real. Björk is a diva on this record. It makes me feel like a diva. For some reason, actually for no reason, this record has some of the greatest house rhythms of all time. She's a one-of-a-kind producer to me. Every track on this has cocaine laced into it, and just the subtle decision making just proves how smart she is. When I first heard this record, I was kind of bummed out that There's More to Life Than This was live, but then I heard a version that was like the atmosphere and the club background was deleted and the track was so much worse. 1994, fuck. Okay, so it's like Aphex Twin, Selected Ambient Works. I really wanted there to be some Richard D. James on here, but I don't know if there'll be any at all. Portishead Dummy, of course, Nasomatic, but guys, It was always Jeff Buckley. It was always Grace. It was always going to be Grace. I try to go note for note with Jeff every time I Like Wine comes on in the car. It never happens. Review this record, and then all of a sudden, Lover You Should Come Over starts trending on TikTok. Now, I'm not saying I brought Jeff Buckley back into the TikTok mainstream, all right? But hey, a domino effect. You never know. I'm just fucking with you. I think the first half of this record is better than the second half, of course. But that's only because the first half of this record is some of the greatest songs ever conceived by the human psyche. Jeff was a fucking genius, and I believe that if he had another 2 or 3 records under his belt, if he didn't die early, then he'd be considered one of the greats ever. All right, his vocals so undefeated. This year was fucking stacked. I know what you're thinking. Is he gonna pick the eerie soundtracks for the blind? No. All right, is he gonna pick Fishman's Long Season? No. All right, even though that track is incredible. I haven't heard most hip-hop records from the 90s. Called Quest, haven't heard shit. Wu-Tang Clan, haven't heard shit. All right, even by the solo members as well, which is something that I need to get into. But I have, for some reason, heard every Outkast record. The whole alien extraterrestrial vibe is so consistent throughout the record. Those sound effects sprinkled out with the mellow atmospheres and the vocal works on tracks like the intro and Jazzy Bell. I was first introduced to this record from Elevators in GTA 5. Title track is one of the most catchiest songs ever. Two Dope Boys in a Cadillac, honestly one of my favorite beats of all time. That shit is fucking crazy. 1997, you gotta go OK Computer, right? Right? No, we're not doing that. We're going Fishman's, bitch. Uchu Nip. It does not get better than this shit, guys. If you're looking for something to listen to this summer, please, for the love of Christ, listen to Weather Report in the car, driving down, windows closed. No, windows open. Let the world know that you're blasting Peak on the speakers. It deserves it. It deserves to be blessed with this album's grace. Daydream is unironically a top 25 song of all time. All right, I'm not fucking kidding. Shinji's vocals on this whole record, especially on that song, make me wanna die. 1998, wow. Absolutely devastating year. In the Aeroplane Over the Sea, Duster, Mezzanine, probably between Music Has the Right to Children, EXO, Elliott Smith, or Air, Moon Safari. And guys, I'm sorry, I think I'm gonna have to go back to back on the ambient pop picks. I understand I have a clear bias, but fucking come on. Tickles me from start to finish. The fact that this is outside of the top 1000 on Rate Your Music just proves to me that our website has no credibility whatsoever. It's nuts. The fact that there's a massive climax towards the end makes me climax. Beth Hirsch's vocals on All I Need and You Make It Easy are the best moments on this record. Those 2 songs are incredibly underrated. And if you're looking for a 7-minute acid trip of just the most amazing guitar solo you've ever heard, I'd recommend the intro. What is it, 1999 now? 1999 now? Fuck. Sigur Rós, right? I don't know. I've known that band for 2 years. Still can't pronounce the name. What else? American Football, 9 Inch Nails. But I gotta say, it's between Gustavo Cerati and Fiona Apple. Honestly, I gotta go Gustavo. The record feels as if you're walking through a city with the tallest skyscrapers you've ever seen. Every instrumental on here is different from the last, but they all flow together so well. His vocals, of course, amazing. All right, this guy, incredible. Rest in power. Once again, I feel like I'm picking between all dead artists. The year is 2000. This is the hardest yet. I could keep it classy and go with Skinny Fists. I could, go Kid A. That's another great option. I could do Avalanches as well. Erykah Badu. Voodoo too, I think. I'm gonna go Avalanches, guys. I'm gonna go I do think 1000 samples is a slight exaggeration, but these beats on here are some of the greatest things you ever heard. All right, I've listened to this record probably 10-15 times now, and every single time I pick up on something different. My favorite track, probably Radio. The synth on that song, holy fuck. 2001, a lot of great picks here, although it's not even worth to waste my breath. It's Discovery. Top 10 album of all time for me, if we're keeping it real. I think if I had to go back to that ranking, which I did it on, maybe I'd put it at number 1. I think maybe one day, alongside with Souvlaki and Love Deluxe, I can make a long, in-depth breakdown of every fucking track on here and why I believe it's one of the greatest dance records of all time. But the only thing I'll say is that I do want to apologize to Face to Face. We're talking 15 samples from 7 different songs. The record is dark magic, all right? You wouldn't even think that the amount of samples on this record are being used, but holy fuck, this whole record is flipped. I will say that, I guess, if I had to pick an honorable mention, because I've mentioned a record from every year so far, I think Probably Drux, Aphex Twin. I think I'm at a point now where he's not gonna see the list, so that saddens me. But 2002, I'm gonna give my honorable mention to Yoshimi. All right, of course, Flaming Lips record. It's amazing, but it was always Gio Gotti. My first video on this channel was Gio Gotti, so I'm not gonna dive into it too much. Plus, I also just talked about it on my re-ranking, so I'm not gonna say anything. One thing I want to mention is that I was listening to this the other day, and I think some of the most eerie moments come on the tracks that are like less than a minute. Tracks like I Saw Drones, Diving Station, A is to B, B is to C, Wherever the Friendly Stranger, those tracks is just so fucking eerie to me. Honestly, scary record. I feel like no matter how much I listen to this record, I just can't get to know it as much as I want to. I feel like I can never get as close to this record as I want to. The jig is up. I'm halfway through the list now, and I gotta tell you, I was born in 2003. I was not born in 1982. All right, so if you're still watching, you found out the truth. Congratulations. All right, you know the truth about so many great records from this year: Sweet Trip, Velocity Design, Comfort, Boris, Feedbacker, brain melting record. But I gotta go Ween, Quebec. Musically, it's such a big inspiration for me because it just pushes the boundaries of needing to stay in that one genre lane, needing to even stay in the same vocal format lane. The fact that my man sounds different on every single song on here is nuts. One of the most fun and heartbreaking records of all time. I cannot get enough of this shit. And if I die tomorrow, just know that I Don't Want It was one of my favorite songs of all time. 2004, and you might be thinking, oh, there's two obvious picks here. There's two picks here. There's Mad Villain and there's The College Dropout. But bitch, I'm picking MF Doom. Don't get me wrong, I'm picking MF Doom. Give me food. Mad Villain doesn't really even resonate with me. All right, because I'm not a villain, I'm a superhero. But I'll tell you what I am though. I am hungry. I am hungry a lot. And this album feeds my appetite. All right, this is just great. The sample work on here is amazing. I feel like this honestly stays with the theme of the record more than Mad Villain. The skits are incredible and add so much flavor. All right. Oh, flavor. Holy shit. Favorite song on here is Deep Fried Friends, Rap Snitch Knishes. I remember when that shit hit TikTok, I was like, wow, it's really over. Learning more about MF Doom as the day goes on. Rest in peace. Once again, I keep picking dead artists. All right. I just got the alert on my phone that we have traded our 2010 pick for two 2005 picks. First being Model Soul, Nujabes. Once again, my topster is starting to look like a graveyard. Historically, hip-hop is my favorite genre of all time, but it's not one that gets me the most emotional. But when I hear Feather in Eclipse, I break down. Every artist that has a verse on here and Nujabes, all of them just contributed a deep piece of their heart, a deep piece to their soul on every track on here. I would consider this record damn near perfect. It absolutely bewilders me that they go from scaring the fuck out of me in 2002 to giving me a hug. This record has a similar emotional effect to Model Soul. Whenever I hear most of the sounds on this record, it just encourages me to take a deep breath and keep going. I'll never forget when I heard this record and then proceeded to watch the Dave Van Cowboy music video, and it just further reminds me that so much of their discography is just desperately needing a music video. I'm glad that their fan base, which I am a part of, I'll proudly say that, is so goated at creating fan-made music videos for them. If you haven't listened to this record, please do. All right, it's so underrated, and Peacock Tail is one of my favorite tracks ever. Just go listen to that song. If you like that song, you'll like the rest of the record, I promise. Next, for 2006, I want to say my honorable mention was Brand New. Front half of that album is something that truly knocks me off my feet every time I hear it, but I gotta go Donuts. This motherfucker had the audacity to put a song called Don't Cry on there. You should have put that as the first song, because I'm already tears down my face. I love the fast pace of this record. The sample work is incredible. He gets you vibing in one moment and then crying in the next moment. My favorite track is Time, Donut of the Heart. Similar to Avalanche, as I discover something new every time I go back to this record, is because there's so many variations of tracks on here. 2007 is a tough year. Burial, Untrue, Graduation, Kanye West, Blackout, Britney Spears. And I know what you're thinking. Oh, he's about to say In Rainbows and pick In Rainbows. Nope, bitch. I'm going Barry. If you were to tell me that Untrue is not a 10 out of 10 record, you know what I would do? I would slap you and spit in your face. If it is true that Burial made this record in 2 weeks, I don't believe that he made this record. I believe that there was a pitch-shifting demon that made this record, that did the sample work on here, because what the fuck? Take vocal samples from 2000s R&B songs that came out recently before the record, flips them into the most isolating and haunting thing you've ever heard, and he's making drum grooves out of something that you would never even conceive of being a drum groove. I mean, a bullet shell hitting the ground? Really? Really, that's your snare. Absolutely insane record. It pisses me off that I'll never be on the level of that, and I'll strive for it every day. But god damn, you made that shit in 2 weeks. What, you made that shit in 2 weeks? What the fuck are you capable of? 2008, Kanye West has been getting fucking snubbed, and you know what? We're gonna continue that. All right, because I'm not picking that. I'm also not picking Death Consciousness, even though I want to. I feel like that record brings me down too much. So I'm going to go third. I like this record more than Dummy. I'm going to say it. I mean, I feel like what I was missing on Dummy is the risk-taking that this record does. So much more experimental. I found that Beth's vocals are a lot more haunting on here. Surreal experience from start to finish. And it does have my favorite song by them, Machine Gun. Probably my favorite drum roll of all time. 2009 sucks. 2009 fucking sucks, dude, because on one end, Sweet Trip, You'll Never Know Why, is one of my favorite records that I reviewed on this channel. But on the other end, I have like a major chunk of my childhood and teenage years emotional experiences with Kid Cudi's Man on the Moon. And Sweet Trip is the better record. Let's keep it real. Man on the Moon does have some serious fucking skip. But from a nostalgia standpoint, I think I gotta go Man on the Moon. I was actually going into this video with Sweet Trip being the pick, and I think within 10 years it will be that pick, because my connection with that record continues to grow every single day. But to me, the highs on Man on the Moon, Up and Away, Pursuit of Happiness, soundtracks to my life, Day and Night, of course. The most popular songs on the record are the best ones. It's just rap therapy. It's just such a fun record that, you know, instills hope in the listener. I don't really listen to it now as much as I did back in high school and middle school, but I gotta put it here. I have great appreciation for what this record has done for me. All right, we did skip 2010, but if you're curious, I would have picked Gorillaz. I could go left field right now and do One O Tricks Point Never replica. I really could, because it's a surreal ambient experience. I will say that. House of Balloons is probably one of my favorite albums of all time. I gotta say that. I would call it a 10 out of 10. Now people would hate on that. Fuck you. I don't care. If there's a record out there that's as cold as the top of Mount Everest, it is this one. I feel like there's legit chills, bro. Chills. I think half this record is sampling Beach House, and the way that they do it is so incredible. It's crazy that Victoria's vocals, for the most part, create the insanely haunting atmosphere that we have on this record, which in turn created the current R&B landscape that so many artists try to mimic today. Tracks like The Knowing, which is an experience of him finding out his lover is cheating, and then him, instead of confronting them, gets revenge but doesn't tell them, and then the song is just about a reflection of them basically being in a relationship full of lies. It's just an insane track. This record does not get enough credit from critics nowadays, and I think it's mainly just because he's a mainstream artist. 2012 just fucking sucks. I think that the dilemma I'm gonna go through for the rest of the time making this chart is that I'm gonna be facing the experience of listening to my favorite records that I've reviewed from this channel during these years that I missed out on greatly, and the records that I was listening to when I was a teenager up until the point where I started this channel. So I'm battling the nostalgia of my favorite records throughout that time period and my favorite records currently from these years. My picks here would be obviously Good Kid, Mad City, The Money Store. And if you came to me in 5 years, I might even tell you that the answer is Bloom, Beach House, because I think within the past 2 years, that has been the record I've been listening to the most. But I have legit listened to Good Kid hundreds of times. Shireen is one of my favorite rap songs ever. I don't know what the opposite of beating a dead bush is, but whatever it is, the media has done that to this record over and over again. So I'm not gonna dive into the greatness of this record and say, Sing About Me is one of the greatest rap songs of all time. We all know it is. I'm not gonna dive into it. 2013 is really 2013 is really between two records. Because the Internet, which would be my 16-year-old pick, or Random Access Memories, which is my current pick. If I pick Because the Internet over Random Access Memories, I will never forgive myself years from now. I cannot do that. And I know I'm picking Random Access Memories, a record that I reviewed on this channel. Hasn't even been 2 years since I've heard it. But I genuinely believe that that record is going to grow on me better than Because the Internet did. And Because the Internet at one point, and when I was a teenager, I would say is one of my favorite records of all time. You ask 15-year-old me what's my favorite record of all time. And I go back and I listen to that record. It's just some of Gambino's bars are just, I can't, you don't notice it. You don't notice it when you're young, but then when you hear it again, it's like, holy fuck, how did he get away with saying these? Logic and Big Sean's careers would end if they said some of the shit that Donald Glover was saying on this record. I know like songs like Flight of the Navigator is so corny, but I love that song. I don't give a fuck. All right, so I'm making this pick for future me, who in I maybe like 2 years, 3 years, 4 years from now is gonna remake this list just to see what has changed. All right, this record continues to grow on me as the days go on. I've even been returning to this record more than Discovery as of late. I think Discovery is the more consistent record, but the highs on this record are better. 2014 is tough. You know, Ultraviolence, Pinata, To Be Kind, but holy shit, it is so Dean Blunt. It is so Dean Blunt black metal. Really an indescribable record. I feel like my words don't do it justice. You need to listen to it. A lot of genres clashing together, but he still makes it his own whole genre. He still makes it his own style. I don't know how he does it. Shout out to the girl. I don't know her name, but you know, he builds kind of the record's atmosphere on her vocals and the contrast between her angelic vocals and the darkness in his. They play off each other so well. 2015. Shout out to Currents, but this was probably my favorite year for hip hop specifically. Every single titan of the hip hop industry right now arguably dropped their best record this year. A$AP Rocky, Drake, Kendrick, Travis, Future, Death Grips, Earl Sweatshirt. Everyone dropped this year. Everyone dropped this year, but I'm not going T-Pav. I'm picking Rodeo. Widely regarded as the greatest trap record of all time. Really launched Travis's career into the mainstream, but for some reason this is not his most popular record. Astroworld is. I don't think Travis could recreate this record if he tried. This is where his career did peak, unfortunately, and honestly, trap music as well. The features on this record are so incredible too. What Future does, what Quavo does on Oh My Diss Side. Oh My Diss Side, I think Quavo drops the greatest ad-libs of all time. There's so many times where I throw on this record and Pornography, the intro starts, and I listen to it and I'm like, holy fuck, I gotta listen to that again. I know 90210 gets the praise as the best song on here for some reason, but I feel like it could go to a variety of songs on here. I love Nightcrawler, Maria, I'm Drunk. Somehow he got Justin Bieber's greatest verse of all time, and the chemistry from Young Thug and him on that song, they all blend together so well. 2016 is tough. Life of Pablo, Black Star, but it's Blonde. I know these picks are getting pretty mainstream and basic, but honestly, go fuck yourself. This album has really lifted me up. There's so many artists out there that go on hiatuses and think that they're Frank Ocean. They're not Frank Ocean. You'll never be Frank Ocean. The fact that his popularity has only grown, tripled, quadrupled since this record just shows how good the album is. Now, objectively, would I call it the greatest album of all time? Because many do, despite the fact that it dropped in 2016. I'm not going to right now, but in 25 years, we're going to be having that fucking conversation, because I do think that he's retired. I don't think that he'll drop another record, if we're keeping it real, just because he wants this record to age like the wine, the fine wine that it has been aging as. Every single year since this record has came out, I've liked a different song off it more and more. And I think GTA 5, once again, I've played a lot. Blonded has also influenced how much I like this album as well. Chances are, if I decide to play Nikes, I'm further on listening to the rest of the record. 2017, 7th grade. All right, what am I listening to in 2017, 7th grade right now? You want to know what the fuck I'm listening to? Yeah, sure, I'm listening to Damn. I'm listening to Flower Boy. But I'm bumping Brockhampton. We was listening to Boogie at 7 a.m. sharp Do you know how insane that is? You had to fucking be there. I will never forget the first time I listened to Bleach. I mean, look at me. In my opinion, 2018, I think, is gonna grow to be my favorite year for music ever. I'm gonna name off all the albums that I was thinking about picking. Kids See Ghosts, Yay, Some Rap Songs, Twin Fantasy, Veteran. Holy fuck, Veteran. Die Lit, Sophie, Daytona, Denzel Curry, Saba, fuck, Mac Miller, George Clanton. There is no doubt that this pick is gonna change, but fuck. I've narrowed it down between Cardi and Earl Sweatshirt. When I heard Some Rap Songs, it broke me. It broke me. Not in a sad way. It just broke my brain as to what is even possible in hip hop. Like what someone would even want to do. But at the same time, Die Lit is so good. Die Lit is so good. I'm not gonna break the rules and delete one of the older picks so I could throw both of them in there. I'm not gonna do that. Fuck. Azukar, probably the greatest hip hop song of all time that's under a minute and 30 seconds. That song just knocks the fucking wind out of you the second you say it. But while I'm still young, I'm picking Die Lit. There's not a single skip on this record. I don't give a fuck. I know that I built this channel on reviewing like critically acclaimed best albums of every year stuff, and I know that this is not viewed as that way. Even though I think many regard this as Cardi's best, and certainly got him to the point that he's at today. And if he even dropped a record that was on this quality today, people would glaze it as the greatest hip hop album of all time. This record is so good that I even listened to the leaks. From this record around that time that didn't even make the cut. So I'm gonna say my three favorites from this record are probably Mileage, Foreign, and Middle of the Summer. 2019 also fucking sucks, bro. Norman fucking Rockwell, Igor, All My Heroes Are Cornballs, Magdalene, Bandana, fuck me. Because I don't think that I'm gonna have another pick by him. And I want to make my statement, and my statement is that Cornballs is his best album. Because I think he takes the atmospheres on Devin Hendrix and his current style and mixes it together perfectly. I can't switch up on Igor right now. I can't. Picking Igor for obvious reasons. Alright, favorite song is probably Boy Is a Gun, Gone Gone, Thank You, Are We Still Friends? Fuck, I just thought of that song, now I'm pissed. 2020 is tough. I think I mentioned that, the nostalgia of a lot of the records that I heard from this year are kind of outweighing the quality of the albums that I reviewed on this channel. I think After Hours, The Weeknd changed my life. I gotta say that. I remember listening to that at midnight when it came out. Blew me away. I think it's his best album. My honorable mention is probably Windswept at Dan. It's unfortunate that I don't have two spots. I'd probably pick that one to go there. 2021. I would probably, for honorable mentions, I would go LP, JPEG, and Donda, Kanye West. I think Donda could have been one of his best records if he played his cards right. But he didn't, and I'll talk about that more in the future because I think I'm going to do another video related to my favorite albums during the 2010s. I think I'm going to go Call Me If You Get Lost. Tyler, the Creator, I think it's his second best album. I think it's better than Flower Boy by a mile. I think Flower Boy has duds. People don't talk about that, but it does. I'll even put the estate sale cover on there. I mean, I know it's technically incorrect for me to do that, but fuck. The theme of this record is amazing. It is the epitome of an incredible summer album. I love that Eric Andre sample on Manifesto. I forgot what pseudonym that he used for that name, for that record that he did that one time. But that was an incredible sample. Thought You Wanted to Dance, sweet, incredible, long-ass song. You did so good on that. His emotional dump on Wilshire is an incredible way to sort of close out the record, and then Safari being the final goodbye. I think DJ Drama does an amazing job narrating this record. A lot of albums after this kind of utilized that narration effect that he used on this album. 2022 is tough. I think as of right now in the 2020s, 2022 is going down as the best year for music. You got Ants From Up There, Big Thief, Jade Forever Story, Denzel Curry's album, Mr. Morale, and I think I am gonna go Mr. Morale here. We're kind of experiencing the emotional maturity of Kendrick Lamar on this record, and I think that this is incredibly underrated. I think it's top 3 Kendrick. All right, I think it's better than Damn. I think it's better than GNX. Mirror is personally one of my favorite songs by him, and the concept of him kind of being at the therapist's office, and the therapist is fucking Eckhart Tolle from author of The Power of Now. Like it's just so random, but the record is amazing. Features are whimsical. All right, he's fearless with who he decides to throw on there, and I think that the production is, takes a lot of risks, and I admire that. I think for 2023, I'm about to pick my most egregious pick. Honorable mention, I'm gonna pick probably Desire or Scaring the Hose, but I'm picking I'm picking the Yachty record. I think Let's Start Here is accidentally probably the best use of AI on an album cover, just because of how prepubescent it was and how it wasn't really trying to trick you. It was just kind of saying, just trying to give you its best attempt at doing what you asked for. I think the accidentally disfigured faces that it gives you adds a scary quality to the record executive's complete 180 turn in his creative direction. I think the reason why I'm picking this one specifically is because this was the record that when it came out, I was like, fuck, I wish I had it. I wish I recorded my reaction to this, and that kind of gave me the idea to create my channel. So I kind of owe, I kind of owe why I wanted to start the channel at that time, due to this record coming out. When I first heard Black Seminole, I was like, holy fuck, what was the budget for this record? Him dropping beautiful psychedelic rock songs was something that I was not expecting. Songs that would go crazy in the summer. I was walking to my class, freezing fucking cold out in January, and I don't know why I thought I had space for 2024. I don't know why I don't. I'm sorry. All right, if you were gonna download this list and upload it somewhere, all right, there's plot hole. All right, love that Yeet record from last year. Production was boundary pushing, incredibly futuristic. Really did feel like it came from 2093. All right, and his bars on that record, him overcoming his addiction, was something that was super powerful on that record that people don't talk about more because they just see him as some fucking rage artist, and they don't give him the time of day. They don't listen to his lyrics. Listen to his lyrics. I'd probably pick Imaginal Disc for 2024 as of right now. I've talked deeply about that record on my end of the year list at one time about how much I love it, but every song on that record feels like a movie, and every song is structured like a movie as well. It peaks towards the end, it drains you, and then the next song slowly builds itself back up as your dopamine receptors reset, and it hits you again. I'm not receding, it's just light right there. Thank you for watching.